Hey guys, tonight we drift with the spice breezes that dance along India's Malabar coast. Picture old sailing ships gliding toward Kochi, sails billowing like whispers of a secret trade. You won't survive the sun's intensity there, but your imagination's got all the sunscreen it needs. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop where you're tuning in from and your local time below. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You step into the bustling streets of Kochi, where Portuguese traders' voices bleed through the hot air with accents like distant thunder. The 16th century unfurls before you. Its chaotic symphony, a blend of foreign dialects, trading with ancient Sanskrit chants, salt-crusted explorers, sweat trickling down sunburned necks, haggle over spice prices that could buy a small European village. Here, the allure of spices doesn't just lie in exotic markets, but finds its quirk in the simplest cups of tea, a dance of cultures stirring as effortlessly as a spoon in hot water. As you trudge narrow alleys bordered by ochre-walled stalls, the tantalizing scent of cinnamon rolls like ocean fog around you. This isn't the cinnamon you sprinkle lazily on apples. No, here it emerges from thick, earthy bark, scraped and dried, carrying echoes of lost expeditions. It's what first draws the Portuguese traders, lured by tales of spices like stories told around forbidden desert campfires. Historians still argue whether Portuguese explorers came seeking souls or spices, and maybe it's not as clear-cut as olden maps might suggest. Remember, there's a rumor that Vasco da Gama himself preferred his tea spiced with cardamom, though some say he simply ate pepper straight out of the pouch, thinking it was a delicacy like sugar. Every blend, every sip transforms under these traders' curiosity. Kochi, you see, stands as a cultural seesaw. Traders' tastes adapt so fluidly to the rhythm of Malayalam-seasoned conversations that even their tea becomes a mishmash of worlds colliding. You lean against a sandstone archway, feeling its sun-warmed texture, peering as traders exchange cloves and cardamom. This isn't your standard afternoon tea mix. It's fiery cloves that singe your imagination, and there are stories of local merchants hoarding these pungent pods like they're royal gems. And then there's the cardamom. That tiny green pod, well, it's the queen here, with a history so revered that it's often locked behind velvet curtains in the merchants' chambers. You can't help but chuckle, thinking how absurd it is to guard seeds more than your castle. Yet the traders' eyes light up, sharing tales of the tea they brew. The Portuguese, ever the practical sailors, find these spices weaving into the very fabric of their lives, like strands of jasmine threading through black silk. The blend they create tastes of Kochi's markets, its colors, its whispers, its laughter, and even the arguments. Historians still argue if the Portuguese adopted local flavors out of necessity or genuine appreciation. But tonight, we'll imagine both, spiced with a pinch of irony as you follow them along the port. Your gaze snags on sacks of pepper, black pepper, not just for food. It's used for barter, currency, occasionally, even thrown like confetti in grand festivals, because locals believed it could ward off ill spirits. There you see traders mixing this bold pepper into their tea, thinking pepper in tea is as commonplace here as sugar in your coffee at home. Pepper, you see, wasn't just flavor. Some claim it had a certain magical quality, a notion as heatedly debated as the true value of those early spice trades. Then you wander into a quieter courtyard where traders gather, and you catch the first glimpse of saffron threads in sunlight, not just threads, golden whispers of luxury. Historians still argue over who brought saffron to India, but in Kochi, it doesn't matter. Each thread unfurls stories of empires, whispers of traders' secrets. The Portuguese marvel at its ability to stain fingers, and tea with hues of sunrise. Here, saffron's story might be one of royal feasts, but tonight, it's that secret ingredient in your evening cup, turning mundane tea into an heirloom. Here, the tea isn't merely drink, it's a memory etched in porcelain, a connection stronger than the spices binding it. Imagine those traders, far from home, savoring tea that carries fragments of Kochi with every sip, while you savor this journey with every word. So sit back, let the fans hum, let the world's stories seep through the air, and keep your favorite spices ready, because from the taste of these blends, you might just imagine ancient paths across the seas, a different kind of exploration altogether. You feel a wave of salty air as you step onto the bustling docks of Kochi, every sense heightening with the cacophony around you. The Portuguese trading vessels loom large, their sun-bleached sails contrasting sharply with the vibrant marketplace teeming with activity below. It's here, amid bustling vendors and shouting sailors, that you first taste the exotic flavors that will shape your entire journey. A local trader approaches with gleaming eyes, offering something peculiar, not the typical green leaves of Europe, but a dark, richly scented concoction. He pours it into a clay cup with an expertly practiced flick of his wrist, letting the spicy aroma rise and wrap around you. The first sip surprises you. This isn't what you expected tea to be. Kochi isn't new to outsiders. Historians claim Vasco da Gama anchored here in 1498, but legend whispers he might arrived earlier, perhaps lost in the annals of time. Did Portuguese sailors secretly taste this spiced brew before anyone acknowledged their landing? Historians still argue whether Kochi's spice allure was known to Europe well before official trade routes opened. This particular blend, an intriguing mix of black tea infused with unfamiliar spices, is the first taste of a culinary revolution waiting to happen. You swirl the tea in your mouth, letting its earthy warmth and unfamiliar flavors dance along your palate. It's a revelation, Each sip reveals something new, an adventure in texture and taste. Some argue the Portuguese brought Europe's first tea leaves from Asia. Others suggest those first humble tea bags were really disguised treasure maps, pointing toward even more exotic spices. Here, amidst the bustling docks, the debate feels academic. Flavors matter more than footnotes. Traders start bartering more than just their goods. They swap recipes and secrets like seasoned chefs in a tavern's back room. One sailor leans in with a conspiratorial grin, sharing how cinnamon swirls create a new warmth when paired with black tea. Experts think this blend might have been what ancient explorers savored during those arduous sea voyages. The air is thick with stories and spices. Someone points out a merchant who claims his tea can cure seasickness. Another swears that adding clove alters the flavor so drastically that even the gods might mistake it for ambrosia. Pungent, spicy, unexpected flavors like these are exactly what the explorers back home have craved for centuries. Each blend is a mystery waiting to be unraveled. In this new world, even the mundane becomes magical. Imagine that local fisherman over there who insists his morning catch swims better when his tea is simmered with ginger, the spice that invigorates every sip. It's not just a beverage here, it's a cultural tapestry, woven with flavors and anecdotes just as intricate as those shimmering silks brought by traders from the inland. You notice the subtle play of light and dark in their preparations. A pinch of black pepper here, a sprig of cardamom there. Each blend tells a story of exploration and adaptation. The traders experiment with their brews, asking, daring, dreaming. Experts think this might have been the original source of spice experimentation, where necessity met creativity in the most delightful ways. One trader explains that cardamom's delicate notes surprise even the most seasoned palates, making it a highly sought-after addition to the European markets. Imagine a sailor boasting in some tavern, "You won't believe what I sipped in Kochi." Could this be how flavor legends were born? With every sip spreading faster than maritime maps across Europe's coastal towns, you watch as a young woman demonstrates the precise art of adding fennel to balance the bitterness of tea, her fingers moving gracefully with practiced ease. Earthiness, she explains, is the soul of the blend. Each cup she brews has layers upon layers of flavors, creating a taste experience that feels eternal, like stories whispered in the corners of ancient libraries. As you walk through the market, pausing to savor another fragrant brew offered by a new acquaintance, you realize these peculiar teas aren't just beverages, they're living history, a cultural mosaic reflecting centuries of trade, exploration, and culinary wonder. The world feels larger here, enriched with the tastes of so many distant shores. Remember the days when sailors risked everything, driven by flavors as much as by the promise of new lands. Whether it was fiery ginger or soothing chamomile, these spices were more than just cargo. They were legends waiting to happen. You glance up to see the sun beginning its descent, casting a golden hue over the bustling port. There's a story in every cup here, tales of traders who dared and dreamers who sipped, each one leaving a hint of their world in the form of spices and teas. Here, taste is more than a sensation, it's an adventure, one you're only beginning to understand as you sip carefully and let the moment linger. You meander through the labyrinth of stalls, each one promising a new twist on the familiar steep. It's here, beneath the shadow of ancient banyans, that cinnamon finds its spotlight. One grizzled trader swears he learned this secret from a spice shaman, but you suspect a hearty dose of sailor's yarn is involved. Experts think cinnamon's warm, spicy notes pair uniquely with black tea, creating that perfect sunrise at sea sensation even landlocked Europeans craved. A handful of Ceylon slips through calloused fingers like sand, the texture a prelude to its explosive flavor. The ancient Egyptians revered cinnamon, using it in sacred rituals. Some tales declare Cleopatra herself demanded it be present in her lover's breath, though we suspect she had more pressing concerns. Historians still argue whether ancient explorers first brought cinnamon to Kochi or found it thriving here, courtesy of cross-continental trade winds. You watch, fascinated, as the cinnamon steeps in freshly boiled water. That first unfurling of spice transforms clear liquid to tawny gold. A sip reveals layers. The black tea's bold backbone, tempered by cinnamon's woody, sweet embrace. One trader leans in, explaining how just a pinch more cinnamon adds a flavor crescendo that would make even the ship's cook back home jealous. No wonder sailors swapped their own secrets for these flavorful treasures. Remember the sailor who swore his tea could tame even the worst sea storm. Turns out he was probably onto something, or at least he had an excellent way of occupying anxious sailors below deck. Here in Kochi, cinnamon isn't just a spice, it's a currency, a conversation starter, a cultural bridge. Each infusion becomes a living lesson in flavor chemistry and historical connection. The traders here speak of cinnamon's role on ancient spice routes, as if reciting myth and legend. They say that once you could trace the entire history of civilization by following the footprints of spice merchants. Could cinnamon, you think, be the very breadcrumb Hansel and Gretel should have left? Its trail wouldn't have led them back home, but surely to so much more. A quick glance around. There's a lively debate ensuing further down the row. One spice merchant swears his addition of freshly grated nutmeg elevates cinnamon tea's warmth to something verging on magical. Another insists it's the secret pinch of cardamom that brings celestial blessing into every cup. Experts think these might have been the spices explorers whispered about at night, their dreams filled with visions of golden shores and endless bounty. As you sip once more from your clay cup, the evening air cools, creating a perfect pairing for these warm spices. Every tea stall holds a universe, Every blend offers an entry into worlds unknown. You think of Vasco da Gama, standing here 5 centuries ago, tasting the future. The flavors that clung to those first explorers' lips are still lingering here, waiting for you to unravel their secrets. And you are only at the beginning. Pungent cloves carry an unmistakable presence, their scent cutting through Kochi's bustling spice market. The air here practically crackles with anticipation. You can almost sense the trader's hands conjuring culinary alchemy with each pinch. Cloves are the rock stars of this spice bazaars, commanding respect and intrigue even from the most seasoned travelers. Experts think cloves were the surprise twist in many early tea experiments, infusing an unexpectedly sharp bite. Picture those first colonial settlers, tentatively sipping clove-spiked tea, likely with exaggerated flair to impress the locals. If my imagination serves right, you'd think they'd spill their tea, but historians still debate whether cloves influenced the Portuguese palate more than they'd care to admit. You pick up a small pouch, the scent nearly overwhelming in its intensity. You watch a local carefully crack open green tea leaves, inserting cloves, carefully placed, almost ritualistic. Cloves originated from the Moluccas, the fabled Spice Islands, but like so many secrets, they found their way to Kochi's bustling network. You recall that sailors believed cloves, or at least their aromatic influence, had mystical powers. Imagine a storm-battered crew trying to focus amidst rolling waves and howling winds. Experts think maybe they found that focus through a clove and ginger brew, perhaps invoking a bit of kitchen wizardry. Historians still argue whether cloves were used more for their supposed medicinal properties, or simply their unrivaled flavor punch. There's a myth that the Dutch tried to eradicate clove trees in their territories to control the spice's market price. But Kochi's traders found ways to keep the spice alive. That little rebellion against monopolistic trade gives a heady thrill as you sip this spiced tea. Here, cloves dance on the tongue, sharp yet welcoming, a complex character in this unfolding drama. The Dutch might have underestimated the allure of cloves. The same could be said of those who thought a pinch of this spicy treasure wouldn't seep into tea traditions. As sun melds into twilight, a trader pulls out a blend featuring cloves and something unexpected, mango leaf. Why not? You murmur to yourself, already acclimating to Kochi's anything is possible tea-making ethos. Mango leaves give an earthy counterpoint to the pungent cloves, a fusion no European would have ever guessed as they plotted spice procurements. Experts think these inventive combinations arose less from necessity and more from creative inspiration, a theory I'm starting to lean towards. The Portuguese were notorious for their spice fixation, driving expeditions fueled as much by curiosity as by greed. They weren't the first here, though. Some sources claim that ancient Romans had inklings of these potent spices, the same Romans who would later trade glassware for these fragrant treasures. The true origin story, however, remains shrouded in that tantalizing mist of commerce and clandestine exchanges. Historians still argue whether it was Kochi's ingenious blends or its exotic spices in their pure form that truly captured European imaginations. You notice an elderly woman nearby, grinding cloves with practiced hands, sharing stories that seem timeless. Her hands convey centuries of culinary wisdom, each grind, each blend a chapter. And as you sip this intensely clove-infused tea, you realize this is more than mere commerce. This is a living history lesson, steeped, quite literally, in flavors once exclusive to kings, and now democratized in every cup. Cloves here aren't just a spice, they're storytellers, each fragrant droplet whispering secrets across the ages. That first cup might startle, overwhelming, bold, and heady. But as you linger, letting the spices settle on your tongue, their mysteries unfurl slowly, invitingly. Clove tea here in Kochi isn't served, it's a revelation. Its flavor a bridge between then and now, foreign and familiar. Each sip transports you, blending memories of distant lands with the warmth of the present. Who knew something so small could pack such a punch, both historical and flavorful? The air shifts to carry a sweeter, earthy note as you meander further into Kochi's spice district. Your senses buzz with anticipation. Could it be cardamom? Known as the queen of spices, its presence here feels almost regal. Imagine Portuguese spice traders, wide-eyed and bewildered, encountering this peculiar green pod with its multifaceted fragrance. Their journey brought gunpowder, velvet, and trinkets, but it's cardamom that lingers in the collective memory. You reach a stall piled high with these teardrop-shaped treasures. The vendor casually opens a pod, revealing the dark seeds cradled within. Cardamom's aroma floods your senses, a complex, citrusy warmth. Historians still argue whether cardamom first found its way into European tea via Kochi, or perhaps the winding Ottoman trade routes. You might picture explorers returning home to Lisbon, their trunks laden with spice packets and whispered stories of enchanted brews. As you watch a local artisan blend cardamom with a familiar black tea, an intriguing fact unfolds. This spice grows best in humid mountain regions, where monsoon clouds kiss the earth. Remember that rainy season monsoon tea from earlier. It's practically destined to pair with cardamom's bright notes. Each sip releases layers of flavor, marrying the deep maltiness of Assam with cardamom's playful, lifting character. Did you know cardamom was once so prized it was used as currency in this part of the world? Spice Kings sounds almost too glamorous, but it wasn't far off for those wielding such potent economic power. Yet here, traders treat it like, well, tea. Experts think those Portuguese traders likely bartered silk or silver for these tiny green pods, leaving European sugar in the shade. Cardamom's allure wasn't just medicinal, think digestive relief, though that probably helped with with all that rich port wine back home. Let's pause on a quirky note. Some cultures claimed cardamom pods kept serpents at bay. That's right, medieval spice myths meeting the practical challenges of marine travel. Imagine sailors convinced their ship's wooden hull needed these fragrant wards against mythical sea serpents. Their tea likely gained a mystical edge from those frantic, belief-driven decisions. Historians still argue whether such superstitions added depth to spices' allure, or if it was pure, pragmatic necessity. Now, here in Kochi's twilight, a vendor hands you a small clay cup, steam rising invitingly. You taste the first note, earthy, then citrusy, then a hint of floral. It's hard not to be transported back to those 16th century merchant ships laden with spices that shaped culinary worlds. With this very cardamom at its heart, each sip reveals another flavor layer, another whispered story. That first bitter surprise gives way to a harmonious balance, a reminder of the intricate dance between cultures, past and present. As you savor each mouthful, the vendor shares a secret. Cardamom was often saved for ceremonies in its birthplace, the Western Ghats of India. Can you imagine it gracing Mughal wedding feasts or the ceremonial halls of Portuguese nobility? The spice's journey has always been marked by grandeur and ritual. Now distilled into a simple teacup here in Kochi's bustling streets. Finally, the sun dips below the horizon, and you catch a glimpse of history. A modern tea blend with ancient roots, seasoned by centuries of cross-cultural whispers. A cardamom tea here isn't just a beverage. It's a living document of commerce, tradition, and flavors, unbound by time. You lean back, savor that last sip, and let the cardamom's lingering warmth weave its stories through your senses. You step into the evening's twilight, cardamom's warm embrace still lingering. Across the way, a stall beckons. It's alive with vibrant orange hues. You're drawn closer and discover the fiery heart of Kochi's spice trade. Ginger, not just a spice, but a fiery beacon for 16th century Portuguese traders. Imagine their surprise, discovering its unique, zesty bite, and the way it could transform a simple black tea into a morning revelry. You wonder, could this be the miracle root they wrote home about? Experts think ginger was introduced to Portugal around the 15th century. Its path, following ancient spice caravans and the daring routes of explorers. Historians still argue whether it was Arab traders or the spice-craving Portuguese who popularized ginger in European kitchens. Perhaps both, in a delicious dance of culinary conquest. Let's venture into a quirky corner. Ginger was once thought to cure the dreaded spice hangover. You grin at the absurdity. Imagine a 16th century trade post. Men returning from Kochi's markets, staggering not from drink, but from spice overload. Too much cardamom, mate, one might say. Time for some ginger. The vendor now peels a fresh ginger root, the air infused with its peppery scent. You watch as turmeric joins it, the vibrant hues blending into teas once reserved for royalty's awakening. Remember how cinnamon's cinnamon warmth teased your mornings. Ginger offers an entirely different kind of kiss, bolder, bracing. A fact unfolds as you sip. For centuries, European apothecaries revered ginger not just for zest, but for zesting. Yes, your circulation. Portuguese sailors, prone to seasickness, found solace and energy in its spicy brews. Each gulp of their tea was a lifeline to endurance, a whisper against the rolling waves. As you taste today's blend, a revelation forms. Ginger isn't merely a spice, it's the spirit of survival. Can you feel it course through? That same vigor that powered those ancient ships, propelled by winds, and dare we say, spicy invigoration. Historians might still argue whether it was ginger's pungency or its medicinal fame that drew those first Portuguese settlers. But today, in Kochi's twilight, the mystery matters less than the experience. In every bite and brew, a narrative unfurls. A root once bartered for, fought over, and sipped to spark vitality. Your ginger tea tells tales of stormy monsoons, resilient sailors, and marketplaces buzzing with the sound of new taste adventures. You lean against a wooden post, savoring the last of this vibrant drink. Its warmth pulses through you, an olden tale of Kochi's commerce, still very much alive in each spicy, fiery sip. The sun dips lower, casting long shadows, but ginger's legacy here remains fiercely aglow. As you prepare to leave, there's that lingering thought. A blend's potency comes from the root, yes, but also from the stories, whispers, and dreams wrapped within. You walk away, the air rich with both spice and lore, knowing somewhere those old mariners cheer on your flavorful journey. You turn away from the fading ginger scent and find yourself drawn to the next vendor's stall. It's here, amidst an array of black peppercorns piled high, where a new adventure begins. Once mere cargo for trade ships and royal fleets, black pepper transforms humble tea into something far more profound, a biting reminder of Kochi's spicy legacy. Black pepper, the original trade treasure. It's the substance that filled the galleys of Portuguese caravels, the reason adventurers braved treacherous monsoons for a single sack. Each peppercorn holds centuries of culinary warfare, economic conflict, and yes, tea debates still simmering. Legend whispers that even Cleopatra, yes, the famed queen of the Nile, adorned her banquets with pepper's pungent embrace to amaze her guests. Can you picture her brow arching at that first surprise bite, a smile dancing as her courtiers choked back astonishment? But was it really Cleopatra? Historians argue whether it was her culinary passion or her merchant's ambition that made pepper a prized staple in that era. This spicy treasure isn't just ancient drama, it's an everyday marvel. Today's Kochi cooks still crush whole peppercorns to release that biting aroma, weaving a symphony of heat into their morning brews. You lean in, watching first crush, then steep, then sip. One taste, and you understand why Portuguese traders risked their necks and empty stomachs for such bold infusions. There's that quirky fact, too. Did you know in medieval markets of Europe, pepper was so valued it was used as currency? Imagine barterers arguing over the weight of each peppercorn, debating like stock traders, but with spices. 2 sacks of pepper, or 1 of nutmeg. They haggle, oblivious to the tea brewing in Kochi's heart. Speaking of the brewing, the vendor's hand deftly twirls the millstone, and you notice how every crack releases wafts of sharp, heady fragrance into the humid evening air. Your senses heighten, each inhale promising warmth, each step deeper into Kochi's tapestry of trade and taste. In this moment, you sip pepper-threaded tea, and it's more than flavor. It's the very lifeblood of those ancient marketplaces, from the frantic bartering to the hushed deals struck over tea bowls under moonlight. Each sip brings forth ghosts of adventurers, each grain a testament to survival. Historians still argue whether it was the scent or flavor of black pepper that ignited trade wars, or perhaps it was the sheer addiction to its bite that propelled those journeys. Remember how ginger's heat lingered even after the cup was drained. Pepper's bite is different. It lingers on the tongue like a secret, a spice demanding to be savored, remembered. You can't help but smile, reflecting how this seemingly humble spice shifted empires, swayed tastes, and now adds such depth to the humble tea before you. The vendor gestures toward the horizon where the sun dips lower. The shadows stretch, but these moments under Kochi's fading sun are timeless. They capture the essence of why Portuguese mariners navigated monsoon winds, why sailors' ballads tell not just of love and loss, but of craving for these fiery flavors. Each bold brew, every spice-laden sip, is a testament to their journey. As you savor this modern rendition, you understand. Black pepper isn't just a seasoning, it's the heartbeat of commerce, the spark of exploration, and the secret ingredient in stories that refuse to fade away. You step away from the stall, the heat of pepper still vivid on your tongue, knowing somewhere across seas and epochs, those same mariners cheer your flavorful journey. Their tales, like the pepper on your lips, linger on potent, unforgettable, and steeped deep within each cup you savor. You step away from the stall, the heat of pepper still vivid on your tongue, knowing somewhere across seas and epochs, those same mariners cheer your flavorful journey. Their tales, like the pepper on your lips, linger on potent, unforgettable, and steeped deep within each cup you savor. The sun has dipped further, casting golden streaks across the busy harbor. Shadows lengthen as you stroll past the vendors, drifting toward a quieter nook of the market. It's here the scent transitions subtly, earthy notes mixing with the lingering pepper's bite. You pause at a small, inconspicuous stall where sacks of tiny, elongated seeds draw your attention. These seeds are fennel, their anise-like aroma both familiar and enigmatic. In the Portuguese traders' time, fennel was a kitchen marvel, its gentle flavor toning down overly bitter teas. The Portuguese, so steeped in their cinnamon and clove experiments, found in fennel a soft counterpart to their bolder concoctions. Legends say that fennel was once a secret remedy for sailors' digestive woes. Picture it: rough-bearded mariners clutching their stomachs, then swallowing spoonfuls of fennel tea. Hardly the heroic tailies they were after, yet these humble brews kept them moving across tides. Of course, historians still argue whether fennel's real power lay in its flavor or in its medicinal mystery. As you ponder the seeds, the vendor gestures with a knowing smile. She hands you a cup, steam curling upward, bearing fennel's mellow embrace. The first sip is remarkably soft, almost teasing, unlike the pepper's bold declaration. Each taste brings whispers of olden remedies, the whispers sailors exchanged during restless nights, far from land. Fennel seeds tell their own quiet stories. Contrary to the opulent allure of saffron or the pungent punch of cloves, fennel offered balance. The perfect pairing with bitter teas, its gentle kiss smoothing each cup's edge. Imagine Portuguese settlers, initially dismissive of local advice, becoming fervent fennel advocates after one earthy gulp. This unexpected ally, fennel, was also a peculiar remedy for what was dubbed the plague in Europe. Some medieval accounts claimed that chewing fennel seeds could ward off infection, though whether this was a result of its actual properties or sheer coincidence is hotly debated. Historians still argue whether fennel truly saved lives or if faith healed. A light chuckle escapes as you remember the haggling over peppercorns earlier. Here, fennel's understated nature seems like a quiet jest, an herb that whispers while others shout. You savor another sip, the earthiness grounding you, an anchor in the swirling tapestry of Kochi's vibrant past. Each breath brings fennel's calming presence, a gentle surprise compared to its spicy neighbors. You think of those traders, battling monsoon rains for treasure, yet perhaps finding their most cherished flavor in the understated seed tucked away in shadowed stalls. Fennel, the unassuming hero of Kochi's trade markets. As the sun's final rays kiss the harbor, you reflect on these peculiar teas that blend cultures and eras. Kochi's legacy isn't forged just in the bold and the fiery, but in the quiet tones, the unexpected balance that spices like fennel bring. The evening's fading light wraps around you, fennel's lingering sweetness a soft hum in the dimming market symphony. You step away, the gentle warmth of fennel's touch grounding you, knowing that in this busy web of flavors, every seed, every spice, weaves its own tale into the rich fabric of history. Each sip from this land of spices carries whispers of the past, each flavor a connection that resonates through time. The sun dips below the horizon as you leave the fennel stall, the sky deepening from dusky rose to inky blue. Lanterns flicker to life across the harbor, casting pools of golden light. The air carries a different warmth now, the day's heat replaced by a softer, twilight embrace. You wander through Kochi's winding streets, drawn to a secluded stall tucked between spice merchants, still haggling loudly. Here, under a canopy of rich crimson, you find saffron threads like liquid sunlight woven into bundles. Traders once thought saffron as rare as gold, its value nearly matching that of a monarch's ransom. Historians still argue whether its worth inflated merely through mystique, or if it truly carried unmatched worth. The saffron vendor, her hands deft, plucks a single crimson thread and lets it unfurl like silk across her palm. She smiles at your intrigue, and you watch as she carefully steeps the delicate threads into hot water, waiting for it to bloom. The transformation is immediate. Vibrant gold floods the cup. The scent that rises is intoxicating, a promise of earth and honey and whispers of the sea. Saffron's allure doesn't lie only in its vivid color, but in its flavor's depth. For Portuguese traders, this was a revelation. The Portuguese had always been fascinated with spices that danced between sweet and savory, and saffron became an exotic indulgence that colored more than tea. It colored their imagination. They would bring these threads home, regaling friends with tales of mysterious markets and spices that seemed plucked from myths. But while its flavor enchanted, saffron carried its share of enigma. It's said that in some circles, saffron tea was once considered an aphrodisiac, its rich, honeyed warmth believed to spark hidden passions. Of course, such tales were never verified, but the intrigue bolstered its demand. Historians still argue whether saffron's reputation for igniting desires was reality, or simply the fantasy woven by storytellers and poets. In Kochi, where stories float on the breeze as easily as the scent of masala, the allure of saffron transcends its culinary uses. It's whispered that Portuguese traders would often barter saffron with locals, their discussions a dance of barter and lore. They'd receive spices like pepper and cinnamon in return, thinking themselves clever. But wasn't it the saffron, an emblem of luxury, that sealed more than trade? The vendor hands you a cup of saffron tea, still glowing warmly in the lantern's light. As you sip, the liquid sunlight dances across your tongue, rich and luxurious. Each flavor unfurls slowly, echoing the golden threads unfolding moments ago. You can almost imagine those long-forgotten trading sessions where the clink of coin and murmur of negotiations faded into the background, replaced by mutual appreciation for the world's hidden wonders. You savor the final drops, the golden warmth lingering in your throat as you look out at the harbor, lanterns twinkling like scattered stars. The shadows have grown longer, the market's pulse slowing into a lazy evening rhythm. The saffron's glow feels like an ember of Kochi's rich past, its threads weaving through stories and cups alike. In this twilight hour, Kochi feels alive not just through its daytime hustle, but through these moments where spices like saffron speak in whispers and hints of sunlight. You can sense the layers, each strand, each sip, holding tales untold, promises of adventure and romance that echo through time. As you step away, the saffron's golden warmth lingers, merging with the fennel's tender echo, forming a quiet symphony of history's peculiar tastes. You walk out of the market, each flavor and aroma now a part of your story, a thread in Kochi's vibrant tapestry of culinary history. You find yourself moving deeper into Kochi's labyrinthine market, where spices beckon from every corner, each more tempting than the last. Your current destination, a hidden gem nestled away from the hustle, known only to those in the know. The air shifts, carrying a familiar warmth that you've encountered before nutmeg. This time, its promise feels more intimate, almost conspiratorial. The stall before you is unassuming, almost lost behind a stack of cardamom crates. But a single glance tells you this is not just another nutmeg vendor. The owner's eyes twinkle as he takes your measure, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. He gestures you closer, and with a practiced hand, scoops out handfuls of the finely grated spice. Each grain glows softly, as though infused with moonlight. Nutmeg's journey to Kochi mirrors those of countless adventurers seeking wealth and wonder across oceans. Portuguese traders, ever daring, brought it back from the Spice Islands in what they called the Maluku Archipelago. They prized nutmeg not just for its flavor, but for its warmth. A small packet of this could transport them from Europe's chill to a sunlit veranda in faraway lands. Here in Kochi, the Portuguese blended nutmeg with their teas to create an elixir of balance. The spice's warm, slightly sweet notes complemented the black tea's boldness, forging a drink both comforting and curious. They found nutmeg made each sip a little softer, a little more welcoming, like coming home to a fire, crackling gently in the hearth after a long day. You watch the vendor's practiced hands. He measures a pinch of nutmeg into a clay pot already steaming with tea, the delicate fragrance rising like a familiar tune. It's fascinating how something so ordinary, seen in the right light, feels like a secret whispered from a friend. One intriguing piece of nutmeg lore. Sailors once believed nutmeg could ward off nightmares. Before sleeping, some would tuck a small piece beneath their pillow. Whether sleep came easier or not became less important than the story. Perhaps it was a sailor's fancy, but the belief traveled just as far as the spice itself. To this day, nutmeg lingers at the crossroads of history and fantasy. Historians still argue whether the Portuguese traders understood just how crucial their nutmeg trade was, both politically and culturally. Was it a sheer stroke of luck that brought this spice into European homes? Or did those traders sense, perhaps more than we give them credit, just how deeply nutmeg would imprint on their culinary soul? As the vendor pours you a cup, the steam carries a heady perfume directly to your nose. The aroma is intoxicating, a promise of spiced warmth and quiet nights. You take a sip, the heat curling along the way. The flavor is a perfect blend, a symphony of contrasting notes that blend seamlessly. It's a dance of opposites. Earthy, woody depths meet the bright, comforting aroma of spiced tea, leaving behind a glow of quiet satisfaction. Here in this corner of Kochi, under a canopy of stars, you let this moment unfold. Each sip is an act of savoring, an invitation to linger in the present, the past's whispers, and the future's possibilities resting gently in the background. The spice leaves behind a lingering warmth, a reminder that sometimes the most peculiar teas hold not just flavors, but the stories and dreams of those who came before. The vendor nods, a silent acknowledgement passing between you both. You leave a small coin, which he accepts with a knowing smile. As you step away from the stall, the night deepens, wrapping its cool velvet cloak around the market. The stories stay, threading through Kochi's veins, just like the lingering warmth of nutmeg, still resting gently on your lips. As you continue winding through Kochi's labyrinthine streets, the night's cloak deepens around you. Every corner reveals new scents and flavors, each more inviting than the last. Your steps take you closer to a part of the market where the fragrant air almost glitters with the scent of vanilla. You follow the trail, drawn in by its sweet promise. There, you find a stall bathed in soft, inviting light. Here, vanilla beans hang in delicate strings, twisting gently in the breeze. They're a treasure in every way. Unlike the more intense spices you've encountered, vanilla's creamy sweetness blooms softly, promising a decadent indulgence. With each whiff, you can almost imagine the Portuguese traders' reactions. Their first encounters must have been like discovering a hidden symphony tucked inside everyday moments. The owner, an elder with eyes as warm as his wares, greets you with a knowing smile. His fingers are stained dark, a testament to hours spent among the beans. Carefully, he selects a few pods and places them in a mortar, starting to grind them with an age-old rhythm. The sound, much like the ocean's lullaby, draws you closer. Vanilla beans, once considered rare luxury, hail from the orchids of Madagascar. But historians still argue whether they really reached the Portuguese traders through Arab merchants or directly via daring sea voyages. It's an open question, like many in history. What is known is that vanilla's discovery created a ripple, changing how flavors mixed across continents. The spice's journey wasn't just one of botanical wonder. It was also a tale of mingling worlds. In Kochi, the Portuguese blended vanilla with local teas, creating an elixir that was both soothing and luxurious. They found vanilla's creamy notes introduced a novel warmth, making teas feel rich and decadent. Vanilla wasn't just a spice here. It became a medium of transformation, turning the simplest brew into an experience of indulgence and grace. Watching the owner work is almost hypnotic. Each grind of the pestle releases more of vanilla's perfume, weaving through the night air. He gestures for you to sample, offering a small, steaming cup. You take a cautious sip. The heat unfurls on your tongue, followed by a mellow sweetness that lingers long after you've swallowed. It feels like drinking comfort itself, a silent reminder of the spice's journey from orchid to cup. Here's a quirky note. Some ancient traders believed that vanilla held the power to calm restless dreams, much like nutmeg's legendary reputation. Whether this was truth or poetic exaggeration, the idea took root, infusing the spice with layers of meaning beyond mere flavor. It's no wonder that vanilla continues to weave through stories and teas alike. Historians still argue whether the Portuguese were fully aware of vanilla's long-term cultural impact when they first introduced it to Europe. Was it an accidental treasure stumbled upon during their spice quests? Or did they foresee its destiny as an essential thread in the tapestry of culinary arts? Each sip seems to whisper that they might have sensed, on some level, the role this spice would carve out in the world. As the merchant refills your cup, the rich aroma envelops you like an embrace from a bygone era. You linger, savoring each moment, each sip a testament to the spice's enduring allure. Vanilla, in its quiet way, has a story as rich as its flavor, one that continues to enthrall senses and hearts alike. With a final nod, you leave the stall, the night air now carrying a faintly sweet promise. The market's symphony fades as you stroll, the lingering warmth of vanilla dancing on your lips. The stories echo softly, an ever-present reminder that the most peculiar teas, like this vanilla blend, carry taste, history, and dreams woven tightly together. The night's enchantment follows you as you weave deeper into Kochi's maze of spice-laden streets. Your journey now leads you to where toasted almonds are cradled in warm, golden bowls. Here, the scent is a delicate harmony between earthy richness and a hint of sweet decadence. The air feels like it holds secrets, whispering tales of flavors from ages past. You discover a quaint stall, glowing beneath a canopy of fairy lights. Almonds, toasted to a perfect golden hue, rest in intricate patterns, inviting you closer. The texture, crinkled and inviting, promises a depth that goes beyond simple flavor. Almonds weren't just an ingredient, they were a touch of luxury, a hint of indulgence for the Portuguese traders who found themselves far from home. The merchant, with hands deftly roasting the nuts, greets you warmly. His skill is evident in the even browning of each almond. As he carefully places a few onto a small plate for you, you notice the delicate smoke drifting from their edges. This isn't just roasting, it's an art form. The aroma dances around, almost like the almonds are sharing their stories with you. Historically, almonds have journeyed far, with legends suggesting that they were spread by the Silk Road traders and Roman soldiers. Even the Portuguese found them compelling enough to trade and transport. But here, amidst the spices of Kochi, almonds took on new life. Blended with tea, they became a rich, complex beverage, their natural oils blending seamlessly to coat the palate with every sip. The marriage of almond and tea created a luxurious richness. Adding a decadent layer to each cup, you taste the offered almonds, their flavor rich yet not overwhelming, and savor that perfect balance. Crushing one between your fingers, you release another burst of fragrance into the still night air. The rich, earthy tones coat your mouth with every bite, promising a warm and toasty welcome. They elevate tea from a simple brew to a decadent experience. Can you hear the stories these nuts could tell if only they could speak? Historians still argue whether almonds influenced European confectionaries as early as the 15th century or spread more subtly over decades. Did the Portuguese carry more than just spice bags, bringing back almonds to sweet the bitter European winters? The question lingers in the cool night air. Each almond brings with it an air of mystery. There's a quirky belief held by some ancient spice traders that almonds could sharpen the mind and bring clarity of thought. Whether true or not, the notion lent a mystical quality to these humble nuts. In Kochi, they became more than an ingredient. They were a symbol of wisdom, a promise wrapped in a shell. Could the almond truly carry such gifts within its crinkled exterior? It's certainly easy to believe in this dreamy, fragrant night. The merchant hands you another small cup, this time with almonds crushed and blended into tea. You sip, tasting a rich, nutty essence that envelops your senses. The warmth spreads, coating your mouth with a velvety smoothness. It's a soothing, calming experience. Every sip pulls you into the story. The blend itself seems to whisper tales of spiced journeys and ancient trade routes across continents. Did you know that some of the world's oldest almond orchards can be traced back nearly 4,000 years, sprouting long before they touched Portuguese tongues in India? Or that medieval Persian poets often referenced crushed almond lattes as a drink fit for sultans. Their presence in Kochi's teas was a natural evolution of those old luxuries, blending seamlessly into the new world. The traders were drawing from their journeys. Each taste, each breath here, adds a layer to the history, an echo of how the past melds seamlessly with the present. You leave the stall, carrying the warmth of that toasty almond essence within you, feeling somehow connected to centuries of culinary alchemy. The night continues around you, the market's glow flickering against the stardusted sky as you drift towards your next discovery. Star anise, with its striking five-pointed shape, catches your eye in a quaint Kochi apothecary. This spice, familiar yet somehow exotic, seems to hold the promise of both licorice and winter memories. You're drawn in by its shimmering black sheen, each pod capturing light like a midnight star caught in the palm of your hand. But there's more, isn't there? Much more beneath that gleaming surface. Legends whisper about star anise as a mystical ingredient among ancient traders. Some claimed that brewing it brought good fortune, protection from the perils of long sea voyages. The Portuguese sailors, always eager for an edge, must have listened closely to those whispers. Star anise wasn't just a culinary curiosity, it was a safeguard, a secret handshake with the unknown. And when they added it to tea, the beverage transformed. Each sip felt like a journey through time's misty corridors. With each step, you felt Kochi's past coming alive, and the star anise stall is no different. You reach out, allowing your fingers to brush against the cool, brittle pods. Their aroma, sharp, peppery, carries tales of olden spice trades. Historians still argue whether star anise from India ever found its way into Europe's first Christmas cookies, blending the East's mysticism with Western traditions. The debate floats in the air, a teasing specter of flavor and history. The aroma is distinctly Christmassy, isn't it? You can almost hear holiday carols in its scent. The same scent that once cheered medieval sailors braving treacherous waves. When they brewed it, the air would be filled with memories of home, cinnamon-strewn fireplaces, distant Yuletide feasts, and an imagined sleigh on crisp snow. Imagine sipping a tea so charged with warmth it could fend off saltwater chills and tropical miseries alike. There's a curious quirk about this star-shaped stranger. In the hushed stories of old traders, star anise was said to aid in preserving youth. They believed that drinking anise-infused tea might keep sailors spry well into their sea dog years. A bit of wishful thinking, perhaps, but who could blame them? A pinch of youth was worth oceans of risk when facing the relentless sun and saltwater's harsh embrace. This star anise stall is different from the others you've encountered. It doubles as a humble apothecary, a place where remedies and legends are traded alongside spices. Star anise, you discover, once topped the list of most sought-after cures. Europeans, desperate for remedies against the plague, looked east. Was there ever a cure in its flavor, or just hope? That debate lingers, almost like a memory of forgotten prayers, whispered by candlelight. You buy a small brew from an elderly merchant who knows every nuance of this spice. The liquid is deep, nearly inky, but when she stirs in the star anise, it transforms. Like magic, the tea becomes lighter, infused with the star's essence. Each inhalation lifts you, and the brew's aroma weaves a familiar enchantment. The first sip is electric, sending warmth through your core, and a whisper of stories yet to unfold. Remember that spice stall laden with almonds, how each nut carried secrets across continents. Here, each sip of tea becomes a similar journey, not just a drink, but a passage through time, a bridge connecting ancient legends and new discoveries. This tea captures more than flavor. It holds fragments of whispered hopes and forgotten spells. Could you ever taste that again? Historians still debate whether star anise influenced the original spice blends, or if it was always a hidden jewel in a treasure trove of flavors. Did the sailors carry tiny vials of this starry spice, concealed within their boots and belts? You wouldn't blame a soul for clinging to a pinch of luck and flavor when the sea's moods might turn at any moment. The truth, like Kochi's stories, remains cloaked just beyond the horizon. Take the next sip, feel the brew's festive spark, and let it light warmth through you. Star Annis's ancient mystery blends seamlessly with the night's murmurs. The Portuguese merchants probably never anticipated how this simple spice, a holiday ornament in their teas, would carry their stories forward. Long after their ships had docked for the final time, one taste here in the glowing apothecary, and you're part of their tale. As you leave the stall, star anise pods nestled in your pocket, the night seems deeper, richer, each shadow a promise of a new discovery. Every step brings you closer to the next forgotten flavor, the next story waiting to be sipped. The sky above you mirrors the intricacy of the star-shaped spice, a vast tapestry filled with hidden secrets ready to spill into your cup. What other tales, what other hidden enchantments await you in Kochi's endless maze of spices? The winding streets of Kochi pull you toward another revelation, this time a scent that carries the freshness of coastal breezes and sunlit fields. You've crossed paths with lemongrass, a humble plant that's more than just a kitchen staple. It's a memory etched in the soil, a flavor that can transport you across oceans. Vivid green stalks stand tall in the market, their sharp lemony aroma weaving through the air. This is the spice that adds zest, the unsung hero of many a tea blend. Lemongrass once played a pivotal role in traditional Ayurvedic medicine. Its vibrant scent wasn't just for flavor. It was believed to purify the soul, banish the remnants of exhaustion lingering from long voyages. Picture the Portuguese traders, weary from their journeys, turning to lemongrass tea for renewal, each steaming cup a breath of hope, a promise of refreshment. In the narrow alleys, you catch a glimpse of locals preparing vibrant teas for a festival. Could it be that the zesty notes of lemongrass might help you summon the elusive spirit of those olden gatherings? Festivals in Kochi were, and still are, a fusion of traditions and tastes, all dancing together, and at the heart of many celebrations stands lemongrass, its sharp brightness cutting through richer flavors, reminding everyone of the sea breeze just beyond the shores. Remember that legend you heard about spices possessing magical properties? Well, in some circles, lemongrass was rumored to keep away the dreaded evil eye. Sailors would weave it into their garments or brew it into teas, hoping to protect themselves from misfortune. How desperate dreams cling to simple blades of grass, isn't it? Perhaps desperation has a way of making the ordinary extraordinary. You stop by a small roadside stall where an elderly woman brews a special tea just for you. As she chops lemongrass, the aroma sharpens the air, a living memory of bright mornings and distant shores. The first sip is a jolt of citrus, slicing through the day's haze. It's exhilarating and grounding, just as it must have felt to those returning sailors many centuries ago. The tea brings more than refreshment. It carries echoes of journeys and whispers of home. Every corner of Kochi seems to hold a lesson in flavor, a hidden tidbit of history. Lemongrass isn't just a seasoning, it's the thread that weaves tales of survival, purification, and healing into the tapestry of Kochi's culinary landscape. You find yourself marveling at how a single plant can carry such weight, such depth, through centuries of stories. Mainstream history tells us lemongrass was prized for its medicinal properties, but fringe tales paint a more whimsical picture. During the monsoon season, young traders would engage in spirited races, not just for sport, but to see who could collect the most lemongrass while dancing in the rain. Some historians still argue whether these races were merely a children's game or a way to disguise the collection of a critical survival ingredient. Picture the thrill of a lemongrass race, your feet splashing in puddles, laughter mixing with the scent of rain-soaked earth. Was it a child's play or a well-disguised tradition of gathering essential medicines? The debate flutters around you like the delicate notes of lemongrass in the air. You continue through the market. Stalls bustle, and each vendor tells their own flavor story, adding layers to Kochi's epic culinary journey. Lemongrass is just one piece of this intricate puzzle, yet here, in these vivid green stalks, lies the bridge connecting past and present, blending tales of sailors, races, and raindrops into every cup you sip. It's more than a spice, it's an adventure in the making. The last rays of sunlight angle through the narrow alleyways, casting warm hues that dance with the lemongrass's lively scent. Each step you take blends you deeper into this world of stories told through tastes. What will the next alley reveal? Which flavor waits to be discovered, blending into the endless symphony of Kochi's markets? As you walk, the thought of endless discoveries awaits you, stories steeped in tea and steeped in life's journey. History's quirkiness never ceases to amaze. From life-saving remedies to playful races of yore, lemongrass carries echoes of an age that's both foreign and familiar. Let the zesty promise of its aroma linger as you meander, every green blade a whisper of past adventures waiting to be sipped and savored in the present. How many more secrets will the alleys unveil when you linger longer in their inviting embrace? You wander further, and now a different aroma catches your senses, one that's both familiar and unexpected. Mint. Mint, ever the rogue, slipping into places you least expect it. Here in Kochi, mint isn't just a garnish for your afternoon iced tea. It's a cool breath of freshness in an otherwise aromatic whirlwind. The green leaves dance in the breeze, a calming contrast to the zesty lemongrass you just left behind. You remember how in European gardens, mint was often considered a nuisance. Its tendency to overrun other plants earned it a reputation. But here in Kochi, it's an honored guest. The Portuguese traders were intrigued, to say the least, when they first encountered the local mint-infused brews. It wasn't just about flavor. They'd stumbled onto another piece of this flavorful puzzle. Mint had a history that was more mischievous than regal, but always refreshing. Historically, mint was used by ancient civilizations for its medicinal properties, soothing the stomach, aiding digestion. A small green leaf packing a punch. Imagine Portuguese sailors, their bellies unsettled from the long sea voyage, finding respite in the cool sensation of a mint tea. An accidental hero, if there ever was one. One thing's for sure, in the heat of Kochi, a mint tea could feel like a blessing. Legends whisper that there was once a secret society of mint enthusiasts among the traders. These enthusiasts believed mint could ward off nightmares, a fringe belief, no doubt, but cherished tales nonetheless. They'd tuck mint leaves beneath their pillows, hoping to find sweet dreams under the Indian stars. Can you picture it? A group of grown men tiptoeing around with green leaves under their heads. It's a peculiar thought. You pause by a vendor who's expertly crafting a refreshing mint tea. He crushes the leaves between his fingers, releasing a burst of aroma that feels like a cool breeze against your skin. As he pours the steaming water over, the leaves unfurl, revealing their vibrant green hues. You take a careful sip. Instantly, the world slows down, the cacophony around you muted by the refreshment of that single cup. Every sip carries you back centuries, to those sailors navigating the high seas, seeking solace in the simple pleasure of a mint tea. And who can blame them? In the midst of the chaos and the unknown, finding a moment of calm in a steaming cup, it's more than just drinking. It's a quiet revolution. Then, the mint's origins. Historians still argue whether mint was first cultivated in ancient Egypt or Persia. Both regions boast rich traditions, and it's a debate as robust as the flavor itself. Regardless, Kochi's mint has its unique story, entwined with the threads of cultures and histories mingling in this vibrant market. You can't help but chuckle as you remember the myth of the mint society. Whether it was medicinal miracle, aromatic dreamcatcher, or accidental nuisance, mint has a way of finding itself at the center of things, and in Kochi, its cool embrace offers a refreshing contrast to the bold flavors around it. As you continue, the minty freshness lingers, grounding you in the rich tapestry of taste and time. The street widens, revealing more stalls, more aromas, and more tales. Each leaf and stem seems to carry not only flavor, but also memories, secrets, and histories. Mint's quirky charm still dancing in your thoughts. What other hidden gems await around the corner? Each step, a discovery. Each sip, a connection to the stories of those who walked these paths before. How many more leaves need to be turned, brewed, and savored to understand the full picture here? Ah, the beauty of Kochi's markets. Each turn a twist in flavor's grand narrative. Each leaf whispering a part of history too intricate and delicious to ignore. Embrace the journey. Let the minty breeze guide you. For here, history isn't just read, it's tasted, sipped, and savored. Let the mysteries unfold with the steam from your cup and the secrets hidden in each green mint leaf. The air shifts, and now you're greeted by a scent both intriguing and nostalgic: licorice. That sweet, earthy aroma is unmistakable. Here in Kochi, it's more than just a flavor. It's a familiar friend in this land of spices and stories. The Portuguese traders, ever the seekers of novelty, were captivated by it. Licorice's unique taste wasn't just unusual, it was a bridge. It connected the familiar sweetness of sugar with the rich depth of the exotic. Historians still argue whether licorice was first used in ancient China or Greece. A humble root with a story as tangled as its flavor. Imagine being a Portuguese merchant, tasting that first sip of licorice-infused tea. Were you skeptical? Delighted? Historians speculate about its medicinal use, and those early traders, ever pragmatic, may have seen it both as a comfort and a remedy. It's easy to picture them savoring their cups as they navigated Kochi's bustling markets. In this coastal city, where spices are more than just flavors, licorice found its place. It was paired with native ingredients, creating brews that warmed bodies and spirits. Perhaps it was the secret to their enduring energy. As tailies say, it was often used to boost stamina during those long trading voyages. There's even a peculiar legend that licorice was considered a symbol of good fortune among Kochi's local merchants. They believed that a generous pinch in their tea could bring prosperity with every sip. Who can say where such myths come from? Yet, in the intertwining of cultures, maybe that pinch held a power far greater than the sum of its parts. As the sun shines through the canopy of spices, you approach a stall where an expert blends licorice with native spices. Each movement is deliberate, as if casting a spell. The licorice root is finely shredded, and as it melds with the spices, an aroma that is both savory and sweet envelops the air. You're given a cup, and you take a careful sip. Instantly, the richness dances on your tongue, earthy, sweet, complex. It's a reminder of the past, a blend of cultures, and a taste of what made Kochi a vital hub of flavors and trade. It's not just a beverage, but a moment in time. In these vibrant markets, where every stall tells a new story, the use of licorice is both a quirk and a cornerstone. It's one of those peculiar combinations that defies expectation, proving that even the most unexpected pairings can find a place beside the well-trodden paths of tradition. As you continue your journey through Kochi's aromatic labyrinth, the sweetness of the licorice lingers. It's a testament to the melding of old worlds and new tastes, where every sip is a blend of heritage and innovation. Each stall, each blend whispers a story steeped in history, waiting to be discovered. The streets open up, leading you further into the market's beating heart. Each scent, more potent than the last, guides you. Every moment, a taste of the stories that shaped these lands. You wonder about the next flavor waiting just around the corner. What blends and traditions are yet to unfold. With each step, you're drawn deeper into Kochi's storied legacy. In this marketplace, time is measured not just by the clock, but by the moments shared over a cup of tea. Each sip a portal to a different era, each aroma a thread that weaves the fabric of human history. Embrace the journey. Let the licorice trail guide you. For here, history isn't just experienced, it's savored with each moment and each flavorful discovery. The streets wind around you, leading deeper into Kochi's vibrant heart. Here, where history flavors every breath, you catch a sight even more mesmerizing than the licorice's dance with spices: rose petals. These delicate petals, with their enchanting hue, are prepared in ways that transcend ordinary tea-making. The Portuguese traders, ever the seekers of new experiences, found their subtlety a captivating change from the boldness they were accustomed to. But here in Kochi, historians still argue whether rose petals were first used in drinks by Persian royalty or in ancient Indian rituals, each claim as fragrant as a summer's bloom. You pause by a vendor's stall where an artist crafts tea with the delicacy of a painter's brush. Her movements are languid, almost ceremonial, as the petals are carefully sorted and then gently added to simmering water. Their scent unfurls through the air, drawing you in with notes that whisper of luxury and serenity. A soft breeze stirs the petals, mingling with the market's lively banter. When these petals are infused, their essence becomes more than a fragrance. It's history steeped in a cup. As you watch, you recall that the ancient Egyptians valued rosemary and frankincense in rituals. But the Portuguese traders in Kochi faced a different aromatic legacy. You're handed a delicate porcelain cup, filled to the brim with an infusion as pink as dawn. You sip slowly, allowing the notes to linger, floral elegance unfurling across your senses. It's not just tea, it's the scent of rose gardens in full bloom. On your tongue, it's a parade of layered stories from Persian courts to Indian ceremonies, blending across timelines with each sip. The floral kiss of the tea contrasts warmly with the sharp, sweet memories of previous sips, creating a narrative far beyond the leaves. These rose teas were often a symbol of both indulgence and diplomacy during the spice trade era. Some say they were cherished gifts exchanged between rival factions, embodying a silent wish for harmony beneath the fragrant surface. Who can separate myth from reality? But in this place, where every market stall harbors a tale, the boundaries blur. Historians still debate whether these practices were imported, or if Kochi's own innovations influenced the tea drinking traditions globally. Each hypothesis has its own charm. A tantalizing petal floating in a sea of possibilities. In the bustling bazaar, vendors' cries weave through the air, carrying the legacy of centuries-old trades across different continents. Here, rose-infused tea symbolizes not just flavor, but centuries of stories, from royal banquets where rose water adorned dishes, to humble stalls like this one, where petals bring a taste of elegance to every ordinary cup. The petals float gracefully, even as they surrender their flavors, embodying the harmony found after centuries of blending and exchanging. You think of the explorers who once walked these streets, captivated by such delicate petals, seeking fortune and perhaps, unintentionally, preserving these fragrant traditions for the future. As you take another sip, lingering in the scent that hints of mystery and grace, you're drawn further into the market's embrace. Each street beckons with its own legacy, each corner a new chapter waiting to unfold. The air is filled with stories whispered through time, and every scent guides you deeper into Kochi's richly woven tapestry. Time stretches into eternity here, and each petal's bloom a timeless echo. As the sun sets, casting long shadows through the streets, you realize each sip is not just a taste of Kochi, it is a step through living history. Each rose petal an invitation to another era. The market's clamor fades as you wander, the path ahead holding yet more tailies, fragrances, and flavors crafted from the hands of both the past and present. With each step, you continue embracing the journey, each delicate petal guiding your senses forward. Kochi whispers to you through every fragrant brew, and you savor these moments, knowing each cup is where heritage and aroma meet. What other discoveries await just ahead? The petals dance and whisper, urging you onward. The sun dips lower, casting golden hues through the narrow streets of Kochi. Here, where the scent of spices still dances in the air, the marketplace begins to settle into a soothing twilight rhythm. But tonight's journey holds a different kind of magic, one that lingers with jasmine's whisper. Jasmine tea, such a delicate infusion, steeped not just with leaves, but with history. When Portuguese traders first encountered jasmine blossoms nestled between tea leaves, it must have felt like discovering a hidden treasure. There's something beguiling about the way this tea unfurls, much like the petals themselves. As you wander deeper, you approach a stall that seems to catch the very essence of the night. Here, the vendor's expertise lies not just in brewing, but in creating atmosphere. Under the soft glow of lanterns, she carefully plucks jasmine flowers and places them alongside green tea leaves. Historians still aren't sure if jasmine was first used this way in China or found independently in India. Another, one of those fragrant mysteries time keeps tucked away. Breathing in the scent of jasmine, you recall a quirky tale. Some old texts claim jasmine wasn't just for drink, but was used in perfumed letters among lovers. Imagine trying to read a message with ink that faded, replaced by a lingering fragrance, but perhaps it made words sweeter, more memorable, each petal's aroma a hidden word. The vendor hands you a steaming cup, a symphony of green tea subtly enhanced by jasmine. The first sip reveals layers. Tea's gentle kiss meets the flower's midnight bloom. There's something almost poetic in this blend, an elegance that unfolds with each taste. This tea's charm lies in its restraint, never overwhelming, but always present, a nightly ritual that bridges worlds. In this moonlit part of the bazaar, jasmine tea becomes a conversation. Portuguese traders may have thought the flower's aroma luxurious, but locals see it as part of their daily lives. In Kochi, traditions intertwine. Jasmine adorns temples, just as it infuses cups. This dual purpose, spiritual and everyday, echoes through every fragrant sip. As you stroll, you muse on jasmine's delicate beauty, a flower that opens at dusk, filling the night with its presence, much like the traders who opened themselves to new cultures. Perhaps we too open our senses to these floral whispers. Jasmine seems to echo this journey, each sip a dialogue between those who came before and those who enjoy it now. Historians still argue whether jasmine tea was created to preserve the flower's scent or as an accidental delight. But with each cup, that debate loses its urgency. What matters more is the here and now, each gentle aroma, each sip that transports you beyond time. Here, amid Kochi's twilight, every breath of jasmine brings tranquility. Time slows, and stories meld. The trader's first taste, the vendor's artistry, the flower's nightly dance. As you savor the lingering notes, you wonder what other secrets bloom in this bazaar, waiting for your discovery. Jasmine tea, simple and profound, invites you to linger in this moment. Each petal story is now yours, just like the traders who once walked these streets. So you continue, drawn by the tea's invitation, following the fragrant whispers that connect history to tonight's gentle brew. The sun dips lower, casting golden hues through Kochi's narrow streets. Here, where the scent of spices dances in the air, the marketplace begins its twilight lull. But tonight's journey holds different magic, one that lingers with jasmine's whisper. You can almost hear the market's soft rustle, vendors folding their stalls, children chasing fireflies. Yet, amid this fading chatter, a new aroma beckons. You've moved beyond jasmine, drawn toward another flowering secret, marigold. Kochi's bazaars know no shortage of spice and color, but marigolds bring warmth that rivals even the sun's embrace. As you follow the scent, you approach a stall heavy with garlands of golden marigolds. The vendor arranges them with care, weaving them into patterns both intricate and simple. Historians still argue whether marigolds originated in the Americas or were first cultivated in ancient India. Their vibrant petals certainly feel timeless, as though they've painted human festivities since the dawn of time. Recalling a quirky tidbit, you smile. In old Ayurvedic texts, marigold tea was said to treat everything from fevers to lovesickness. Imagine boiling marigolds, waiting for those sunny petals to release their healing notes. It makes you wonder how many cures were simply cups of pretty tea, delivered with a wink from grandmothers across centuries. You lean closer as the vendor mixes dried marigold petals with black tea. This isn't just about color, The marigold infuses a warmth that's almost spicy, a burst of hidden citrus that plays well against the tea's robust undertones. She invites you to sip, and the first taste dances on your tongue with unexpected brightness. Marigold tea carries layers of golden complexity, and it's just as much an experience of sight as of taste. Its sunny presence seems to defy night's embrace. You think of how Portuguese traders might have marveled at such an infusion, another surprising blend in this land of wonders. No tea party in Kochi was ever dull. Every cup of marigold tea here is a small miracle. Each petal, soaked and steeped, whispers tales of festivals and family gatherings, where marigold chains hung like sunsets across doorways. In these quiet moments, you're tasting not just spice, but stories, their warmth spreading through you like a slow sunrise. Historians debate whether marigolds first came to spice trades as garden ornaments or as culinary delights, but for locals, such discussions are mere musing while the sun dips lower. As you savor the cup's bright end, you wonder what magic lies just beyond this stall, waiting to infuse your senses next. As you meander deeper into the twilight bazaar, one sip of marigold tea follows you. Its warmth echoes between stalls, harmonizing with the fading sounds of vendors packing up. Here in Kochi, each sip is a thread in a wider tapestry, a way to stitch together past and present, one cup at a time. The twilight deepens around you as the marigold's warmth lingers on your palate. Ahead, another stall catches your eye, one that promises color, not just in taste, but in vision itself. Piles of rich crimson petals stand arranged like jewels. These, must be from the famed hibiscus. You approach slowly, appreciating how hibiscus has a storied presence in every part of Kochi's market. Historians still argue whether North Africa or Asia Minor was the original cradle of today's cultivated hibiscus. Its brilliant, almost electrifying color adds life to the dim evening, a vibrant counterpoint to marigold's gentle warmth. The vendor gestures warmly, offering a fresh brew. As she pours, you notice the deep, translucent red, almost like liquid rubies, flowing into your cup. Hibiscus tea, they say, can turn an otherwise dull room into a spectacle. It's no wonder it's a favorite for festivities and ceremonies. Imagine sipping this in a candlelit room, or perhaps under the stars, where the petal's color seems to shimmer with the cosmos. You recall a quirky tale. In olden times, sailors swapped legends about hibiscus brews made at sea, claiming that drinking the tea helped to preserve youth. Could they really have believed this ocean elixir would keep wrinkles at bay? You smile at the thought, picturing salty men insisting their beards seem to sprout softer each morning. The first sip unveils tartness, refreshingly tangy, almost as though the hibiscus petals still hold a bit of tropical sun within. This tea is unlike the spiced, warm blends you tasted earlier. It's a brisk surprise, invigorating as a crisp breeze. And here's where the open debate enters your mind again as you savor the bold flavor. Was hibiscus originally valued for this tantalizing tartness? Or was its aesthetic appeal what truly dazzled the ancient spice traders? Regardless, the crimson brew offers both visual splendor and a tangy kiss that dances on your tongue. The hibiscus bright notes blend with memories of Portugal's explorers arriving on these shores. They'd likely seen nothing like this back home, where floral teas remained largely unexplored. Did they sip and wonder at this crimson elixir, their European palates piqued by the unusual taste? As you glance around, the marketplace's late-night hum creates a symphony of textures and histories. Every stall tells a different story, and each sip is a bridge to ancient traditions carried forward through time. Here in Kochi, the past mingles seamlessly with the present, and history is a flavor you can taste. The vendor adds a whisper of sugar, balancing the tartness with a hint of sweetness. You think of how many generations have perfected this blend, turning necessity into art. Some say hibiscus not only refreshes, but might also cool the body in the hottest weather, whether it's the tea or belief in tradition that drives the refresh. Historians might argue forever. You take another sip, letting the brilliant color reflect off your cup's surface as a reminder of these vibrant stories. Kochi's markets hold secrets in every petal and leaf, in every hue and fragrance. Some spices soothe and warm, while others invigorate with bold contrasts. Through every stall, another chapter of humanity whispers its wonders. And so you drift along, the hibiscus, tangy warmth still alive on your lips, leading you toward the next hidden gem waiting in Kochi's twilight embrace. The twilight air grows cooler, the warm glow of lanterns casting delicate shadows. You turn a corner, and the subtle fragrance of a familiar plant envelops you. Lavender. Its floral notes, light and calming, beckon you into a small alcove where you see a vendor carefully arranging bundles of the purple herb. In Portugal itself, lavender has found a quieter place in herbal traditions, usually linked with relaxation or sleep. But here in Kochi, it transcends mere relaxation, a soothing embrace that promises to draw every trace of city's afternoon heat from your bones. Historians still argue whether it was the ancient Romans or the Egyptians who first valued lavender's serene properties. Either way, its presence here feels both timeless and transformative. The vendor smiles and hands you a small earthen cup. The lavender tea inside has a soft purple hue, a gentle contrast to the vibrant hibiscus you sipped moments ago. As you bring the cup to your lips, the day's earlier spice adventures coalesce into a perfect harmony with this serene moment. Here's a quirky tale to ponder. In olden days, sailors believed that lavender-infused water, when sprinkled on their pillows, would bring dreams of their homeland. Would the scent of lavender alone be enough to carry them back across the ocean, if only in dreams? The first sip is a whisper of calm. Lavender's aroma unfurls in the steam that dances upward with every small movement of the cup. The tea's warmth slides down your throat, each taste note blending into a melody that soothes your mind. Could this be why ancient traders carried small bundles of dried lavender, a portable potion for the weary and homesick, to bring a semblance of peace even in chaotic, bustling ports? It's not just legends that link lavender and voyages. Some scholars think it was one of the first luxury herbs traded in ancient markets. The idea of it being a luxury might seem strange now, but this simple herb may have once been as prized as silk or spices. Its calming properties worth their weight in soothing moments. Another sip, and you feel the lavender's floral complexity unfold. This tea is less about a burst of flavor and more a gradual, enveloping embrace. A gentle hand laid on your shoulder, urging you to exhale every ounce of stress accrued during your market wanderings. Open debate still surrounds whether lavender tea's calming effects are psychological, linked to the soothing aroma, or a genuine biochemical reaction within the body's receptors. Scientists might still argue over the whys and hows, but the result remains the same: an enveloping tranquility. With each slow breath out, imagine that you're releasing every worry, letting only the soft floral kiss of lavender linger. The air is quieter here, muted through the calming effects of the herb on your senses. You wonder if this was what those old traders felt, moments of peace stolen in the midst of their spice trading endeavors, each sip a silent anchor to their homeland, their roots. Yet, isn't it fascinating how an herb can travel so far from its origins and still hold its intrinsic worth? The vendor offers another small cup, suggesting that lavender tea infused with a hint of honey might deepen the experience. As you taste this newer, slightly sweetened version, you can't help but appreciate how each culture adapts these herbs into their own unique narratives. You linger, savoring each sip, letting the tea work its floral magic through your senses. Some say it even helps with sleep, that a single cup before bedtime is enough to bring dreams as calm as the twilight settling over Kochi's bustling markets. Whether that's the lavender itself or the power of ritual and routine, it seems another debate primed for scholarly minds. Finally, there's a gentle chuckle from another visitor nearby, who says that in their homeland, a sprig of lavender under a pillow was said to bring forth dreams of future love. You smile, thinking how different cultures find varied magic in the same humble plant. Here, you found a soothing balm, a reminder that sometimes all you need is a gentle touch of lavender's soft, purple promise to melt the worries away. And so, as Kochi's twilight deepens, you let the lavender's kiss guide you further through the market. Somewhere behind you, the brilliant reds of the hibiscus stand as a vibrant memory, while ahead, perhaps more wonders await. Nestled in the deepening indigo night, you meander through the winding pathways of Kochi's bustling market, and the heady aromas of diverse spices linger long after you pass their stalls. The twilight deepens, and just as you feel the weight of the day's exploration in the arch of your feet, a soft, daisy-like flower catches your eye. Chamomile. Its gentle presence and subtle apple-like aroma remind you of quiet evenings back home and promise something different. Here, chamomile has a charm uniquely its own. Unlike the robust, assertive herbs you encountered earlier, chamomile exudes a different kind of allure. It's the solace one seeks at the end of an afternoon's adventure, a calm that seems to wash over you even before you take the first sip. Historians still argue whether chamomile was first cultivated by the ancient Egyptians or perhaps the Greeks, but its soothing properties have been cherished since antiquity. A vendor invites you to try a steaming cup, expertly brewed with a blend of freshly picked chamomile flowers. You cradle the cup between your palms, and the warmth seeps through your skin as steam curls upward. The soft floral notes of the chamomile tea evoke images of tranquil gardens, a gentle escape from the lively thrum of the market. It's whispered among merchants that chamomile tea was consumed by the royals of olden times. But was it Cleopatra soaking in chamomile-infused baths? Or perhaps a Roman empress? The mystery alone adds a layer of intrigue to each sip. The chamomile's infusion is delicate, but rich in character. It's here that you discover the drink's famed ability to ease tension. One sip, and you feel the grip of the day's excitement begin to release. This gentle herb, so unassuming in appearance, might just be the most valuable ally for unwinding after long market wanderings. You wonder if this soothing experience is why chamomile became such a staple in apothecaries' shelves. Its calming effects transcending generations. You pause at a bench, nestled between two stall awnings. The seat invites you, and you give in. Each breath here, filled with chamomile's light floral whispers, wraps you in serenity, each exhale quieter than the last. There's a debate among scholars whether the therapeutic benefits of chamomile come purely from the herb's natural compounds, or partly from the soothing routine of brewing and sipping it. Science may sway one way or another, but you lean toward believing it's both the ritual and the flower. The subtle notes of apple and hay intertwine on your palate, the warmth spreading soothing tendrils through your entire being. It's a reminder of how herbal teas can offer more than just flavor. They provide a moment of serenity, a small refuge from the world. Experts think it's the flavonoids in chamomile responsible for inducing this tranquility. But perhaps it's also in the act of slowing down and appreciating each moment, each taste, each breath. Around you, Kochi's night begins to envelop the market. Lanterns flicker to life, casting long shadows that dance atop spices and herbs, alight with a magical stillness. Nearby, a small child giggles, a universal sound that bridges the moments of history etched in these lands with the joy of now. Here, in this gentle twilight, you reflect on how each herb has its own story to tell, its own healing embrace to offer. As you savor the chamomile, time seems to pause. The bustling market, the heady aromas, the vivid colors, all of it seems to dim under chamomile's soft enchantment. Is it the scent of apple blossoms you detect now, mixing with the earthy notes, creating something uniquely calming? The vendor leans in, sharing an old tale that chamomile was considered a gift from Mother Earth herself, a gentle medicine for the weary traveler's spirit. Another visitor approaches, sharing that back in their homeland, chamomile is planted near beehives to calm the bees, so not just a human tonic, but perhaps a universal one, spreading peace through nature. Every sip of this fragrant tea becomes a promise of an evening steeped in quietude, a gentle goodnight whispered through every bloom. Finally, you realize, as the chamomile whispers the secrets of calm and contentment to you, its touch feels not just like a simple herb in a cup, but a tradition, an embrace passed through time. It pulls you from the vibrant chaos of the afternoon's discoveries into an intimate moment of rest and reflection, a precursor to the night's embrace. You push through the gently rustling bamboo panels flanking the next stall, their soft clatter nearly drowned in the chorus of evening market sounds. Here, curiosity pulls you into yet another corner of Kochi's diverse tea tapestry. The moment you step past the panels, an intriguing green aroma envelops you, bright and faintly peppery. Suspended above a steamer, bundles of sweet basil's lush leaves whisper promises of unexpected tea delights. Basil burst, you'd associated basil with vibrant tomato sauces or a summer caprese salad, but never a teacup. Yet here, the sweet basil is no stranger to the brewer's art. Historically, basil has danced across culinary traditions. Romans cherished it as a symbol of love before it journeyed eastward. But its place in teas remained hidden from many, a leaf out of ancient, perhaps even forgotten, cookbooks. The vendor waves a bunch of basil under your nose, the sharp, clove-like fragrance catching you off guard. An acquired taste, this one, they say with a twinkle in their eye. You hesitate, but curiosity nudges you forward. Historians still argue whether such fragrant blends were first concocted by monks or by traders seeking to mask the bitterness of poor quality tea leaves. Who could have guessed that fragrant leaves and patience could brew into such complexity? You find a small, polished stool at a station where two brass samovars sit like sentinels watching over clay pots. Here, the transformation happens. Fresh basil leaves, only slightly bruised by skilled fingers, release their aromatic oils into steaming water. The ritualized approach feels like alchemy, and indeed, watching this blend form is mesmerizing. Imagine, if you will, a Renaissance apothecary, where each leaf held the secret to health, though would they have dreamed basil belonged in a teacup? A young mother with henna tattoos curling up her wrists stirs a pot. She pours a cup for you, dark green with a translucent clarity that glows under the lanterns. You take a cautious sip. The initial sharpness gives way to a softer, subtly sweet note that leaves your tongue tingling. Perhaps this unconventional choice holds more charm precisely because it defies expectation. Or maybe, just maybe, it's the thrill of novelty dancing on your palate, a playful counterpoint to the familiar brews. Around you, the evening deepens, but the market's energy hums with a quieter, almost conspiratorial rhythm. Nearby, a cat with sleek midnight fur winds through the stall, pausing to receive a piece of grilled mackerel, an offering from a merchant's son who remembers this stall's basil tea cured his cold one rainy monsoon season. Such tailies, you muse, are the true spices of human experience, infusing each herb with memory, magic, and meaning. You lean back and let your gaze wander to the lanterns hanging like captured stars against the indigo sky. It's easy, in moments like these, to imagine the past generations, those Portuguese spice traders whose arrival in Kochi centuries ago changed this land's culinary heartbeat forever. Some quirky accounts whisper they even attempted making coffee with basil leaves after missing their usual morning espresso. Fringe tea history enthusiasts debate this, of course, but what fun would tea lore be without a bit of drama? Back to the present and the steaming cup. Your senses now attuned, you detect hints of pepperiness dancing with the sweet undertones. The flavor unfurls in a symphony that feels both rustic and refined. Perhaps it's the earthy, almost peppery notes that transport you back to garden memories, overhearing basil's botanical name, Ocimum basilicum, with tales of ancient rituals and secret remedies whispered through generations. The vendor gestures toward an aging chalkboard that reads, in careful Tamil characters, legendary basil, where past meets pot. Underneath, a sketch of sailors trading spices by lantern-lit docks. Here you realize every leaf holds a chapter of history. Each sip unfurls a saga. And the debate, whether basil-infused tea was initially a practical choice or a forgotten pleasure of the Portuguese and their local allies, you savor the last drops, aware this peculiar blend has stitched new threads into your tea-woven tapestry. Such unlikely pairings remind you there's always more to explore beyond the usual paths. It might just be the basil's unexpected sharpness in tea that hints at greater mysteries. How spices shaped commerce and culture, brought distant worlds together, and infused simple sips with extraordinary histories. One last glance around, and you know, each stall, each leaf, has stories that span centuries and oceans. Even the humblest of herbs, like sweet basil, holds whispers of times long past, blending seamlessly with the hum of Kochi's vibrant present. As the market's chatter hums to a lullaby-like cadence, you carry forward anticipation of tomorrow's discoveries, sweetened by tonight's peculiar tea journeys. The lanterns glimmer like fireflies suspended against the night, guiding you towards another sensory adventure. You meander past spice mounds, glowing saffron and ruby, catching hints of earthy sandalwood mingling with the salty sea breeze. Tonight's curiosity stirs as you approach a stall draped in deep terracotta fabrics, where bundles of dark green leaves hang, their scent earthy, yet surprisingly bold. Here, the unexpected awaits, an oregano twist in your cup. Oregano, that hearty Mediterranean staple of pizza toppings and rustic gravies. In tea, you've wandered far from margarita memories tonight. Yet, historians still argue whether the Portuguese traders themselves, notorious explorers of exotic blends, might have dabbled in oregano's distinctive profile for local trade. A vendor appears, their leathery hands deftly plucking oregano sprigs from dried bunches. As leaves flutter into a clay teapot, the crisp fragrance hints at savory warmth, a far cry from the basil's sweetness you savored earlier. Remember that Portuguese apothecary trove in Kochi's archives, hinting at medicinal infusions with wild oregano. You're about to taste where myth and leaf converge. You perch on a worn wooden stool as the teapot simmers over a small charcoal pit. Here, even oregano transcends its kitchen roots, brewed into a tea that whispers old in-world stories. The vendor pours an amber elixir into a polished brass cup, steam curling with secrets of centuries worth of spice barter, tales richer than any written ledger. You sip. Earthy warmth unfurls, followed by a hint of subtle pungency. It's a bold caress on your tongue, an herbal symphony of familiarity with an exotic twist. This oregano brew, was it first born from the Portuguese spice traders' desire to replicate ancient Greek stomach remedies? Fringe histories suggest sailors' apothecaries contained such robust brews far from their familiar shores. Nearby, a group of musicians tunes their mandolins, the strings humming in harmony with the oregano's bold notes. Their melodies blend with market whispers, carrying tales of sailors bartering oregano packets for rare spices. Did these traders know their aromatic leaf would one day become a teacup wonder in Kochi's bustling bazaars? The vendor's practiced fingers roll an oregano sprig between his palms, releasing a musky sweetness. This was once considered precious cargo, he says, eyes twinkling like the lanterns above. You recall an odd reference to a peculiar shipment log. One theory suggests a 1505 convoy nearly turned back due to a missing oregano crate, sparking heated debates between ship captains. Each sip draws you deeper into history's folds. Perhaps it's the oregano's surprising zest that reminds you trade isn't just an economic dance. It's a clash of tastes, an interplay of unexpected pleasures. And here, between your fingertips, lies an embodiment of those encounters. Historians still argue if the first oregano tea was a culinary experiment or an accidental fusion. As traders' cargoes mixed and mingled across the Indian Ocean's waves, you finish the last drops, oregano's essence lingering like a secret you've promised to keep. Its earthy finish leaves a bittersweet tang, a reminder that even the most unconventional leaves woven into tea's narrative defy simplicity. And how did the Portuguese's taste for exotic herbs shape Kochi's tea destinies? Legends whisper oregano's bold surprise might just hold answers across centuries as its flavors seeped into Kochi's brews, blending continents within a single cup. As you leave the oregano stall, the vendor presses a sprig into your palm, a token, perhaps a blessing. That modest gift feels like a bridge between time-lost sailors and Kochi's living stories, where the most unexpected herbs transform first into trade, then into tea, and finally into timeless legacies. You stroll on, the night air mingling with savory echoes, eager for tomorrow's sips that might reweave the tapestry of the peculiar Portuguese spiced teas Kochi still cradles in its heart. The market's rhythm follows you as you step away from oregano's stall, that last savored taste still dancing on your tongue. Brass bells jingle faintly in the distance, guiding your path past the bustling crowds. Tonight's curiosity beckons. Time's subtle whispers await those daring enough to seek robust hints within a teacup. Remember that modest sprig tucked away in your pocket. That unassuming gift will reappear soon. But for now, let's delve deeper. Time and herb linked to courage in ancient tales, whispered to grant wisdom to those who brew it. Historians still argue whether Portuguese traders discovered time's flavor fusion potential through those mythological texts brought in their navigation bundles. The stall you approach crackles with earthy undertones, dried sprigs of thyme bundled with twine, hanging gracefully from bamboo poles. It's an herb often overshadowed by bolder spices, yet the vendors here know a secret. Sometimes the quiet leaves conceal the most potent spells. This notion might even explain why Kochi merchants valued thyme higher than pepper in certain trade negotiations. Fringe history suggests. A silver-haired vendor motions you closer, their hands working deft magic with dried thyme. Feel that oil-laden freshness. They murmur, fingers brushing the aromatic leaves. As they unfurl the bundles into a ceramic pot, the scent unwraps like a mystery. Light steam rises, mingling thyme's whispers with Kochi's ever-present sea kiss, reminding you of ancient merchants who navigated by stars and flavors. You watch as the teapot simmers over a miniature charcoal burner, its glow casting shadows that tell stories of spice routes and trade missions. Isn't there something both nostalgic and revolutionary about this? Reviving old world herbs in teacup tales. Remember that 1518 sea ledger with the scribbled note, cargo deemed priceless, next to a time entry. Historians speculate that referred to culinary uses, but fringe theories lean toward medicinal infusions. A hidden trade gem. Pour the emerald brew into your weathered porcelain cup. The color alone, a promise of depth. First sip, you expect mildness, but time's complexity sneaks up like a mischievous tide. Earthy warmth, subtly bitter edges, and then a curious citrus hint emerges. Perhaps this was why the Portuguese traders bartered more fiercely for thyme sprigs during monsoon season when fresh stocks were sparse. Some say old cargo logs even hint at a sailor's riot over thyme-laced provisions gone missing. Nearby, children laugh while weaving tiny thyme sprigs into crowns. The scent intermingles with market songs, children's games, and spice barters, creating Kochi's living history. Could it be that thyme's very presence here is tied to some medieval legend of thyme crowns worn during solstice celebrations? While mainstream historians dismiss such claims as pure romance, local lore disagrees. You sip deeper into thyme's secrets. Feel those stories percolating, each leaf whispering tales of traders, balancing on crates of this ordinary, yet transformative plant. In the 17th century, Kochi's Spice Bazaar was awash with thyme-infused teas, crafted exclusively for monsoon-ridden explorers. Historians still argue whether those cough remedy concoctions first sparked thyme's inclusion into tea blends, or if its subtle notes were discovered much earlier. The vendor chuckles softly as they refill your cup. Thyme doesn't brag, but it holds its power. As you savor each quiet note, you realize the truth. Here lies the paradox. Thyme's unassuming presence cloaks centuries of flavorful journeys. You recall the spice trove from old Portuguese logs, small notes scribbled in margins about thyme's elusive zest. How could such a modest leaf leave such an indelible mark? As you finish the brew, you notice the flavor isn't merely fleeting, it's persistent, deepening your appreciation of Kochi's trade stories. Each sip feels like uncovering another layer, much like the archaeologists who unearthed early spice cellars filled with thyme stems, arguing over whether they were for cooking, medicinal uses, or something more profound. Before you leave, the vendor presents you with a small thyme knot tied thrice, a symbol of protection on your travels. For many paths, they whisper, with each step back into the bustling market, you realize each herb, each sip, is a step on a path that intertwines Portuguese history with Kochi's own rich tapestry. Thyme may not dominate spices, but its subtleties reveal how the unassuming often carry untold legacies. The sun dips lower behind Kochi's turrets, shadows lengthening. You hold your small knot of thyme tightly, not just an herb, but a compass pointing toward the many hidden layers in Kochi's ancient tea paths. Tomorrow may bring more bold discoveries, like how cinnamon's warmth first blended with delicate tea notes, or saffron's threads first painted teacups with luminescence. But for tonight, you hold a piece of Kochi's timeless whisper wrapped in time's gentle embrace. The sun dips lower its fading light, casting new secrets on Kochi's ancient stones. You tuck away the small thyme knot, a protection charm for your winding journey. Around you, the market's lively whispers continue. But tonight, sage's bold notes call you. Past stalls brimming with vivid spices, you're drawn to less flamboyant herbs. Sage, an earthen jewel. This plant has anchored culinary traditions across continents, but stands as an enigmatic figure in Kochi's tea tapestry. Historians still argue whether it was Portuguese monks who first recognized sage's dual culinary medicinal prowess in the East, or local Ayurvedic practitioners who infused it centuries earlier. Reaching the sage stall, you're greeted by verdant bundles, their gray-green leaves catching Kochi's lingering sunlight. The vendor here, with hands skilled by decades of trade, crushes a leaf, releasing potent, camphor-kissed fragrances. See, it's the whispers of old forests, they explain. Even monks valued its depth. Sage's allure lies in its complex dance between earth and slight pepperiness. You recall an entry in a weathered Portuguese log. Monks traded for sage, a hidden worth. Fringe tailies suggest it wasn't just for memory-boosting concoctions, but as secret barter currency during times of conflict, hinting at an almost mystical reverence. As the vendor brews a sage-infused tea, you notice the process, delicate yet purposeful. Not too vigorous to strip the leaves' delicate oils. Steam rises, weaving aromas of distant pine groves with a kiss of citrus, a flavor profile so distinct, yet somehow familiar. Ah, you recognize its soul, don't you? The vendor muses, eyes twinkling. Mainstream history recalls sage as a spice for meat preservation back home. But here in Kochi, its essence reveals something transformative. This is the saga where ancient meets new, a tale whispered across tables by Portuguese traders who bartered for this versatile herb as an emissary for their palate's exploration in foreign lands. Sipping this emerald brew, your senses awaken. The flavor, both grounding and uplifting. Perhaps it was this very combination that led to sage's revered status among traders seeking both culinary richness and medicinal potency. Historians speculate that early tea sage infusions might have been the harbingers of the herb's introduction to Western Europe. A claim still fervently debated through parchment margins and over dusty tomes. You watch children dart through the alleys, their laughter mingling with spiced aromas. In this marketplace, each herb carries legacies of ancient uses and mysterious introductions. Could it be that sage's popularity among Kochi's scholars influenced Portuguese traders more than they cared to admit? While mainstream records highlight cloves and pepper, hidden ledger notes reveal sage transactions of comparable worth. The day's last golden beam illuminates the sage's glossy edges in your vendor's hands. Here, every leaf feels like a repository of whispered secrets, a library of untold tales. Recall that fringe legend. Portuguese sailors once believed sage brews could protect against sea serpents, a fanciful notion, but one that highlights the lengths spice traders went in their search for not just flavor, but fortune and protection. Each cup of sage tea you savor feels like unraveling, yet another tier of Kochi's historical depths. This isn't just a beverage. It's an elixir of endurance and wisdom, carrying within its strands a tale far removed from humble origins. Even today, historians dissect ancient cargo logs, arguing over whether sage was deemed medicinal or culinary, sometimes both, in those old sailing crates, with a small bundle handed to you, tied with flax twine. The vendor bids farewell, their eyes carrying the knowing weight of centuries. Hold to this sage, and you'll carry Kochi's wisdom in each leaf, they remind. The gift isn't just in its robust flavors. It's in the way it transforms mere tea into a vessel of history. Twilight cloaks Kochi's market, the day's stories etched into every brew, every traded leaf. You hold your small sage bundle. It sent a grounding whisper against the horizon. Tomorrow may usher in more discoveries about cinnamon's first blend with tea. But for tonight, you're wrapped in sage's bold embrace, an earthy revelation, lingering with the tailies of Kochi's enduring spice paths. The sun has long set, leaving only the echoes of Kochi's timeless whispers. You feel a gentle gust from the Arabian Sea, carrying stories written in brine and carried by monsoon winds. As you wander further into the labyrinthine alleys, you come upon a narrow lane where old stone walls tell tales of ancient trade routes. This is where spices journeyed from east to west, meeting points of curiosity and commerce. Kochi's harbor wasn't just a docking station, it was the heartbeat of a world in the making. Mariners navigated treacherous waters, guided by nothing but the stars and whispered rumors of spice-laden shores. Here, the air carries hints of history, cinnamon, cloves, and something peculiar, rose petals mingling with anise. Experts think these unexpected pairings might trace back to an obscure 16th century apothecary's ledger, lost to the ocean, but rumored to exist among spice traders' secret recipes. You find yourself in front of an old warehouse, its wooden beams etched with ancient scripts, and the smell of 1,000 journeys. Once storing exotic goods from distant lands, it now stands quiet, cradling echoes of a bustling past. Inside, shadows dance with faint traces of lavender and turmeric, a reminder of spice cargoes bound for kings and commoners alike. Historians still argue whether the lavender trade route connected directly to Kochi or passed through Ceylon, each port holding a piece of the spice puzzle. Each stone and plank here tells a story of peril and promise. Those who risked everything, a fleet of ships laden with black pepper, cardamom, and yes, even saffron threads sought their fortunes. Some succeeded, others vanished into the vast blue, leaving behind only whispered legends. The Portuguese chronicles boast of Kochi's spices being the crown jewels of their trade empire. Yet, fringe accounts speak of traders using rose petal extracts to mask the scent of smuggled saffron, a trick to avoid taxes in faraway lands. As you explore deeper, you notice small alcoves, each dedicated to a different spice. They say every sailor had a favorite: cardamom pods for freshness, nutmeg for warmth, In one corner, a crumbling chest catches your eye. Within, yellowed letters reveal hints of long-forgotten trades, where a kilo of ginger was exchanged for yards of delicate silk. The stories here layer upon each other, where each blend carried whispers of distant mountains, coastal towns, and ancient civilizations. Each voyage carried more than just spices. It carried seeds of curiosity. The spices of Kochi influenced not just culinary arts, but social customs, healing practices, and daily rituals from Europe to Asia. Historians debate whether it was the explorers' diaries or the market gossips of Kochi that first brought the news of basil-infused teas, a peculiar blend still savored in hidden corners of Kerala. A distant bell echoes, calling you back to the heart of this spice haven. The market square, where every stone is a sentinel of time, beckons. You trace paths of olden merchants, Venetian ambassadors, Chinese porcelain traders, Arab spice brokers, and Portuguese adventurers, whose ships braved gales and shoals to reach these shores. They all had a dream etched into their sails, a dream of exotic flavors and untold wealth. As dusk settles, you savor a cup of spiced tea. Each sip becomes a voyage in itself, a journey through history's corridors, where every flavor tells a tale of discovery and daring. The blend is peculiar, yet familiar. Historians may argue, some say, the Portuguese brought lavender-infused tea recipes here, hoping to recreate the luxurious taste of their courts. Others believe it was a local adaptation, a blend crafted in Kochi to suit the exotic palates of European traders. You lean against an old pillar, the sea's murmur lulling your thoughts. Kochi's tea traditions may seem an accident of fate, but every cup holds centuries of shared whispers and stolen recipes. Perhaps the next sip will uncover another layer, another story of spices, a tale still waiting to be unraveled. Tonight, Kochi whispers to you. It carries echoes of past journeys, where traders navigated by stars, and spices were the ultimate treasure. You realize each story isn't just about a commodity, but a journey of cultures colliding, blending, creating something new. As you turn to leave the warehouse, carrying with you the scent of ancient spices, you feel Kochi's legacy around you. The past isn't buried. It's alive in every alleyway, every tea brews, and every whispered tale. In your hand, a small pouch, a blend of turmeric, rosehip, and an unknown spice. It's a recipe lost through time, but perhaps rediscovered by you. The aroma hints at tales yet untold, each step in this ancient city guiding you toward a discovery still being written. Tomorrow you may find the forgotten story of saffron traders' morning rituals, or the legend of cinnamon bartered for porcelain. For now, you savor the night, Kochi's enduring flavors a constant reminder. Each sip a step along ancient paths, each breath a journey through time. And the tales of Kochi's spice routes continue, one peculiar tea blend at a time. You wander through the cobblestone streets, the weight of history heavy but comforting. Kochi's legacy isn't just about spices. It's a living tapestry of diverse influences, woven seamlessly through time. Under the same starlit sky that guided olden mariners, you discover the crossroads where continents converge. This ancient city wasn't built in solitude. Ship after ship arrived bearing exotic tastes from far-off lands that shaped Kochi's culinary essence. Historians still argue whether Portuguese explorers stumbled upon Kerala's spice blends accidentally, or if local traders strategically curated peculiar teas to entice European tastes. That's the beauty here. No one narrative fits all. You peer into a centuries-old apothecary. Glass jars filled with marigold petals, hibiscus flowers, and vanilla pods beckon. Fringe accounts hint that a secret guild of spice merchants created special blends, reserved only for foreign dignitaries. Some say these combinations held not just flavor, but coded messages, perhaps a hint of basil, or a trace of thyme, concealed an alliance or a promise. Every brick of Kochi has absorbed the whispers of cultures colliding. Venetian traders brought tailies of chamomile's calming essence, while Portuguese missionaries introduced jasmine's delicate notes, hoping to recreate familiar comforts far from home. This unique mingling gave birth to teas that embodied both foreign and local wisdom, a true tapestry of tastes threaded by time. You imagine conversations from centuries past, a local offering a swig of peppercorn-infused tea, an Arab trader responding with a grin, holding out a pouch of clove-spiked blend. Perhaps they swapped not just goods, but dreams and fears, each sip building a shared story across disparate languages. Experts think these exchanges carried not just flavors, but medicinal knowledge. Thyme wasn't merely an herb, it was a cure. Historians still argue whether the Portuguese first introduced rosemary's memory-boosting essence, or if Kochi's own blenders incorporated it for trade advantages. Each cup thus became a vessel holding both body and soul remedies. A narrow alley guides your path toward the Kochi spice market. Under the dim glow of lanterns, vendors beckon with sacks filled with saffron threads, cinnamon bark, and mysterious spices wrapped in olden linens. Here, the present and past exist simultaneously, the very air humming with centuries of culinary alchemy. You pause at a stall draped in crimson silk, its owner demonstrating the perfect infusion of clove and cardamom. A passing local chuckles. They tried turning us into tea drinkers, but we turned them into connoisseurs. Perhaps the best kept secret is how each peculiar tea tells a story of resilience, each blend a defiance against monolithic narratives. This market isn't just about spices. It's where stories and secrets unfold. Experts once theorized that Kochi was home to a hidden society of spice trade philosophers, debating the essence of flavor as much as financial profit. Some argue these debates shaped tea recipes more than we realize, each sip a testament to centuries of intellectual exchange. Every path here winds toward shared discoveries. Recall those tales of Egyptian kings' burial spices. Some now believe that Kochi traders might have been the original source for certain exotic ingredients, blending traditions that stretched far beyond Europe's known trade maps. Historians still argue, did Kochi influence global culinary customs, or was the exchange genuinely mutual? You finally step into a tea house, its walls adorned with maps tracing old trade routes. The aroma of simmering turmeric tea fills the room, a reminder that these blends aren't just recipes, they're records. The tea you sip now may resonate with the same rich history, every flavor note a tribute to a voyage undertaken, a culture embraced. Tonight, Kochi speaks through its teas. Each cup isn't merely a beverage, it's a story in liquid form, a conversation across time. In every sip, flavors from across continents mingle, blending olden practices with new traditions in perfect harmony. The enduring legacy isn't just in spices, but in how they carried and continue to carry centuries of shared histories, whispered secrets, and enduring dreams. In every blend. You find yourself reflecting on the deep roots of Kochi's traditions as you leave the tea house. Here, the past isn't just a backdrop, it's a heartbeat, pulsing in every interaction and every carefully brewed cup. The city's ancient spice legacy anchors its cuisine in ways you never quite imagined. Historians still argue whether Kochi's tea customs truly began with the Portuguese traders or evolved even earlier through Arab merchants. The truth, as with many olden tales, is shrouded in mystery. As you stroll along the waterfront, the harbor's gentle waves echo tales of epic voyages. Kochi was once a bustling hub where spices like cardamom and black pepper were as valuable as gold. Experts think that the intricate art of blending these spices into tea wasn't merely culinary experimentation, but a sophisticated method of preserving and passing down ancient flavors. Each sip carries secrets, each blend an inherited treasure, whispered from generation to generation. Pause for a moment to observe fishermen mending their nets, a scene unchanged for centuries. Local lore claims that even their salt-infused water was once infused with spices to preserve seafood during lengthy expeditions. Maybe some of those techniques subtly influenced the evolution of Kochi's spicy tea blends. Perhaps, if you listen closely, the faint scent of cinnamon still lingers with every morning tide. Narrow alleys draw you deeper into the city's heart, where ancient spice markets flourish alongside modern shops. Did you know that Kochi was known as Queen of the Arabian Sea? From here, merchants traded in both the tangible wealth of spices and the ethereal riches of taste. Every corner echoes the steps of traders who, historians argue, may have laid the foundations for the world's earliest gourmet tea culture. They may have experimented here, saffron threads and fennel seeds mingling with tales of foreign lands, creating flavors that continue to captivate even your modern palate. The air grows fragrant as you pass a small pottery workshop. Clay teapots line the shelves, elegantly shaped for steeping the perfect blend. According to some fringe theories, early Kochi alchemists believed that the ceramic's absorbency enhanced the mystical properties of their tea blends. Quite the leap, right? But then, in a city where history whispers from every rooftop, who's to say where fact ends and fable begins? With the sun dipping below the horizon, Kochi's skyline transforms into an olden tapestry of twilight. The flavors you've sampled today, the warm kiss of cardamom, the fiery spark of peppercorn, aren't mere indulgences. They're legacies passed down, preserved not just in jars, but in communal memory. Historians still debate whether Kochi's tea culture influenced global shifts in flavor preferences, or simply preserved its ancient uniqueness amid the waves of change. The tea's enduring allure suggests it might be a blend of both. A street vendor beckons you to try a final blend, this one infused with hints of marigold and rose petals, floral notes that remind you of the city's dual role as both a bustling trade port and a sanctuary of tradition. Here, where ancient alleys meet the modern age, every flavor, ingredient, and brewing method carries forward the wisdom of countless generations. This city, its people and its tea, tell stories that transcend time, ensuring that as long as these flavors exist, the spirit of Kochi will never fade. Kochi's rich tapestry continues to weave itself through its peculiar tea preferences. As the scent of marigold and rose petals lingers in the evening air, you're reminded of how these seemingly simple infusions carry monumental legacies. Kochi's enduring relationship with tea didn't just persist, it evolved. The city's spice markets flourished, becoming a melting pot where centuries-old practices harmonized with new influences. You stroll along the waterfront, noticing how each sip of tea here feels like a quiet rebellion against time. Historians still argue whether it was the Portuguese or Arab merchants who laid the foundational tastes of Kochi's tea culture. But what's undeniable is the alchemy of flavors that emerged from this cross-cultural exchange. The Portuguese might have brought their penchant for sweet, robust brews, while Arab traders possibly instilled the appreciation for fragrant, aromatic spices. As you walk, you pause by a nearby tea stall where an age-worn chalkboard lists peculiar blends, cinnamon, star anise, and even a hint of fenugreek. Did you know that in the early 17th century, Kochi was a pivotal spice route hub, where prices for black pepper occasionally soared higher than gold? Experts believe that such valuable cargo spurred culinary innovations, resulting in intricate tea blends meant not only for taste, but also as status symbols during trade negotiations. You take a moment to soak in the bustling atmosphere. People haggling over spices, vendors skillfully mixing blends, and the rhythmic hum of life continuing as it has for centuries. Among local traditions, there's an unusual custom called tea tasting ceremonies, which involve elaborate rituals where participants meditate on each sip, letting the flavors unlock stories of olden voyages and forgotten traders. Some even say these ceremonies began as a tribute to sailors lost at sea, a way to keep their spirit alive through every brew. As the sun dips lower, you find yourself in a cozy tea house tucked away in an alley. Here, the walls whisper tales as old as the city itself. Over a simmering cup, you learn that Kochi's penchant for spice-infused teas might even have subtle roots in temple practices, where specific blends were used for purification. Historians still debate whether this custom bled into everyday culture or if it remained a cloistered temple tradition. Perhaps both, considering the mystery that cloaks many of Kochi's ancient practices. The tea house owner shares a whimsical anecdote, saying that during monsoon season, the air's increased humidity can change the way tea flavors meld. According to old lore, one particularly rainy August brought forth what locals now call the monsoon Malabar blend, created when tea leaves absorbed the essence of cardamom and cloves from a leaky storage shed. Now, that blend is celebrated annually with a festival, highlighting how even accidents can become cherished traditions. As you sip your tea, the day's experiences swirl in your mind. You think of the fishermen mending their nets, the pottery workshops crafting vessels for the perfect brew, the marketplace's cacophony of spices. Kochi's culinary legacy isn't just preserved, it's a living, evolving art form. The tea's peculiar blends, born from ancient exchanges and quirky mishaps, ensure this city's spirit lives on through every cup. With night descending, you're left with an enduring realization. Kochi's peculiar tea preferences are more than mere flavors. They are the narratives of olden trade routes, forgotten ceremonies, and accidental blends. They tell the story of a city that embraced its past while continuously reinventing its taste. As the tea cools, you can almost hear the whispers of history, preserved and passing through time, one sip at a time. Walking back through the quiet streets, you know that Kochi's legacy, its tea, its spices, its enduring spirit remains vibrant, continuing to captivate and surprise both locals and wanderers like yourself. Here, in these ancient alleys, where history merges seamlessly with the present, flavors hold time captive. Every sip is a testament to centuries of blending, experimenting, and cherishing. A proof that in Kochi, the peculiar allure of tea is not just a tradition, it's a timeless experience. You move through the alleyways, where the night is soft, every corner whispering stories. The city of Kochi cradles you in its gentle embrace as you tread softly over cobblestones. Each step carries you through layers of history, as if the streets themselves remember every trader who's ever passed along them. As you approach the water's edge, the air is cool, soothing, the day's busy rhythms giving way to night's quiet serenity. the water laps softly, a calming lullaby that resonates with the quiet clinking of teacups left behind in the tea house. Here in Kochi, time is an art form, blending and swirling like the spices steeped in your brew. Your senses are steeped in relaxation, brought to gentle awareness by the faint, lingering aroma of cardamom and clove. It's reminiscent of the monsoon Malabar blend, a serendipitous creation born from unexpected storms. That delightful accident, once a simple twist of fate, now lives on in every cup. How wonderful it is to find beauty in life's surprises. Under a sky brimming with stars, you pause to breathe deeply, feeling the warmth of your clay cup, so much more than a mere vessel. Experts think that these handmade wonders, much like the rich concoctions they hold, are relics of a practice that may have started in quieter, reverent traditions. The city's heart beats softly in each carefully crafted tea blend. Picture the fishermen casting their dreams into the sea with every net they weave, or the market vendors harmonizing spices like a timeless symphony, playing notes of memory into your nightly journey. These are echoes of a trade that's not just commerce, but a continuous evolution of soul. Each peculiar blend born from ancient roots and curious mishaps offers comfort for the moments where time stands still and history breathes. The stories hidden in every sip, a testament to Kochi's spirit, resilient like the walls of old, now echoing quietly into the night. Walk with this thought of endless journeys contained in each teacup's promise. Feel it soothing you, promising rest and dreamscapes rich with the legacy of spices. As the city's lights soften and fade, let the night envelope you, its quietude a gentle tide that will guide you into sleep. In the heart of Kochi, where echoes of history play so softly, every street is a cradle, every breeze a whisper. Rest easy, knowing the city's essence is yours, an ever-flowing brew of time and taste, flowing through you like a whisper of warm tea into dreams.